So in my preview video of The Adventures of Elliot, when I played the demo, I made a bold claim and said, this will be my JRPG or RPG or maybe even my game of the year. Now that I've finished a large majority of what the game has to offer, I think my answer is I'm not ready to fully commit to that just yet, but it's become one of my favorite surprises of this year. So before we get into the full review today, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts down below. I would love to know your opinions on the game. Are you playing it? Are you waiting to play it? Or are you waiting for me to put a video out to see whether or not you should buy it? So aside from that, thank you so much to Square Enix for providing me with a review code today. And also I did buy the game because I just like to support these things. And yeah, let's go. So the overarching theme for Adventures of Elliot is time travel. And this isn't a spoiler, and the video is pretty much going to be mostly spoiler free. So if you haven't played it, I think it should be okay to watch this. But the story follows Elliot, an adventurer who gets thrown into exploring ruins and then finds these doorways to time. And before you know it, the game is sending you across different time periods. And where it gets really interesting is that the time travel serves the story more than it serves the gameplay. And I think that's actually the right call here. The story is good enough to carry the weight of the whole experience. There are moments where you won't fully understand why the game is showing you certain things or why characters are saying certain things, but somewhere around the 95% completion mark, it all clicks into place. And that payoff is pretty satisfying. You might worry at times that the game is just dropping hints and never closes the loop, but it's actually pretty airtight. Things that get teased early on do get resolved eventually. It's worth the patience. Now, aside from that, I'll say that the final narrative threads really did touch me emotionally. An emotional connection is all I can ask for from any game, really, and a big part of that comes down to the voice acting, which I touched on in my preview. It's really warm, it's sincere, it gives the whole game this welcoming, almost Studio Ghibli kind of vibe that carries right through to the end. Now, as for the characters, Elliot is a great lead. He's kind of gentle, he's determined, he's very, very easy to root for, and his fairy companion, Faye, who is been a bit of a divisive figure in other reviews, really didn't bother me at all. You gotta bear in mind that I've got a 6-year-old son who I would lovingly describe as a chatterbox. So a little fairy that talks every now and again in the corner telling me, oh, what's this? Or here, where should we go? Or do this? Or what's that? Like, it's right over my head. I don't even hear it. Now, the combat here is super fun. This is like the thing that glues the entire experience together. The Zelda DNA I was talking about in my preview is deeply baked into this game's foundation, even if the developers have said they're going for more of a Mana series vibe. I just see A Link to the Past when I play something like this, and it really resonates with me. We've got real-time combat, sword and shield, boomerang, bombs, arrows. Yeah, I mean, come on, if you love A Link to the Past or games similar to it, this is going to be very familiar in the best possible way. Now, you do get a few more weapons beyond what the demo showed you, and they're all upgradable. Not necessarily like by going to like a blacksmith or something, but you find better versions of each weapon scattered throughout the world if you want to seek them out. I personally didn't chase them all. I mean, I barely touched some of the weapons and really just stayed with the sword, the hammer, and the boomerang. But the option is there, and if you're the type of person who likes to find the best of the best, there's definitely incentive to go and find the best gear, but it's not absolutely necessary. Now, the multiple timeline structure does feed into the gameplay loop through weapon upgrades and trial shrines, which in my preview video I compared to like Breath of the Wild style temples and discoveries. And look, they're mostly optional, but they do give you some upgrades for Faye that are genuinely useful, so they're worth doing when you come across them. Faye, aside from acting what some of you would describe as an annoying side character, is pretty helpful with her abilities. You can light lanterns or suck up certain things, or you can even clone yourself. So there's different ways to play. But again, I really didn't dabble that much, only unless I absolutely had to do something for the sake of solving a puzzle or whatever. Now, the game doesn't shout at you to go find these upgrades or even these weapons. They just appear in your peripheral or on your map as you're moving throughout the world, and it's up to you whether or not you want to do it. Now, there's also the Magicite system where you can assign different buffs and effects on your weapons. If you're playing on easier difficulties, you probably could ignore it, but I would still say collect all the shards as you see them, spend some time trying to put some stuff on your weapons. There is an auto assign thing as well if you just want to be totally lazy about it and have the game set and forget, which is fine. But I would say if you're playing on harder difficulties, you might want to spend a bit of time figuring out what's going to be the best for your play style, and it's definitely something that's going to be there to engage with if you want it. And of course, the Magicite system, I mean, that's such a cool name, a throwback to Final Fantasy VI, so yeah, definitely worth playing around with. Now, if you're playing this game to completion, you might notice that repetition does slightly start to creep in. And it starts to creep in around that 15, 18, 20 hour or so mark. And I think that's about the right length, to be honest with you. Any longer, this game would start to feel overdrawn. Part of that comes from the time travel structure itself. Revisiting areas you've already been to across different time periods felt a little bit samey after a while, and same thing with the enemies. Yes, they are a little bit stronger. You can tell that they're stronger because they've got a different color palette, but they're mostly the same enemy design. And look, there are reasons to go back. Different items, different trials, story things. The freshness of it kind of wears off pretty quickly. It was a bit annoying to fully explore the map in one time period and then have to go do the same thing in another time period just to get somewhere I've already been. It's a bit of a nitpick, I know, but that is a minor complaint. However, exploration is still one of the game's strongest suits. The world is full of small detours, hidden caves, paths, little rewards. You're not necessarily punished for playing linearly, which is mostly how I played this game, but the game is designed so that traversing from point A to point B means you're naturally going to bump into things that are worth investigating. It never really feels like a checklist, though at one point to get the best ending, you'll know that you have to collect certain things. So all I'm going to say is if you see a cat, make sure you go talk to them, because otherwise you're going to be scrambling to find everything so you can finish the game properly. Now, if you follow my channel, you'll know that I love the HD 2D aesthetic, and this game just does it so wonderfully. The more HD 2D games I play, I really just love the vibe, and I just feel so much at home and welcomed when playing games like this. So The Adventures of Elliot is a gorgeous game to look at. And pair that with the character portraits that these HD 2D games have, which seems to be a real staple. It's such a treat visually. The environments feel alive, character movement has some real personality and energy to it. And for me, playing on the PlayStation 5 ran flawlessly, zero performance issues, just a really smooth experience throughout. And in my preview talking about the music, I said that it had kind of Chrono Cross and Xenoblade Chronicles vibes, and I'm happy to say that the entire soundtrack was such a pleasure to experience throughout the entirety of the game. What really impressed me is how it feels deliberate in how the music supports the game's whole time travel identity. There's a recent video with the composers where they talked about mapping out, and approaching each age as its own musical era, using some different instrumentation and different textures, so each period immediately feels distinct the moment you arrive there, and I'd recommend watching that if you're interested. And I think that comes through really well. I mean, there's this nice balance of each area having its own vibe, but the soundtrack still feels cohesive throughout the entire adventure. You get moments that feel mysterious, moments that feel warm and welcoming, moments that feel adventurous and big, and then you have these really wonderfully large orchestral pieces that land with way more emotional weight than you might expect. So it's a great example of a soundtrack that never feels like it's fighting for your attention. It slowly elevates things until you realize how much of your connection to the world is coming from the music underneath it. Wonderful job to the composers. Well done. I really liked this one. So here's where I land with The Adventures of Elliot. Is it my game of the year? I don't think so, at least not yet. I just need a bit more time to sit with it, but it is a genuinely wonderful experience that I think is worth your time. I do think I will come back to the game after this video and do some more questing and just spend some more time in the world, because it is worth it. I just need a bit of a break from pushing to get this review out to you all. But if you love 16-bit style adventures, if A Link to the Past is your kind of game, if you want something that feels like it was made by early 90s Squaresoft developers but built for consoles right now, this is absolutely an experience that you should have. It's a comfort game in the best possible sense. The story is tighter than you might expect, and the gameplay is really satisfying. The world rewards curiosity, and it has a real heart to it that's hard to fake. The caveat is if you go in purely linearly and don't engage with any exploration at all, some of the magic might be lost on you, and you might have to be covering your tracks quite a lot in order to get the best ending. And the time travel structure, as cool as it is narratively, does start to feel a bit repetitive on the gameplay side as you go deeper into the back half of the game. But none of these things stop me from having a really good time, and I think you will too. So thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you to Square Enix for providing me with a review code. But again, I did buy the game because I like to support these things. And yeah, we'll see you in another video next week. Bye-bye.